As fantastic a CFP as Mello is, and as wonderful an attorney as I am, please do note that anything said in our show are our opinions alone and are not meant to be taken as financial or legal advice.
Welcome to Finances, the Other F Word, a Gen Xer podcast for musicians and music lovers, where we discuss money and music without all the pretentious bullshit. Here are your hosts, Zoe Terry, attorney at large, and Mel O, certified financial planner and author of Finances, the Other F Word. Listener discretion is advised.
In a world of black and white, they were wrong and he was right. Yes, looking for a clue. Nightmare come true. Da-da-da-da something. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Wow, my voice is absolute shit this morning. I'm singing Billy's Got a Gun by Def Leppard, and I sound like absolute shit while I'm singing it. Billy's got a gun. He's on the run. So there's a reason why that song is in my head, because this show is going to be pretty heavy duty. And for those of you who have lived through the 80s, it's like the fucking 80s up in this bitch all over again. The stuff that we're experiencing and the stuff that's starting to happen, I was just like, wow, like I thought I'd only lived through this once. So for all of you guys who are joining me, Claire, Leslie, good morning. Good morning. Great to see you guys. My name is Mel O. I'm a licensed certified financial planner, author, podcast host of Finances, the Other F Word, and host of this show, Money and Metal. And today we are going to be talking about Putin. We are going to be talking about the Supreme Court. Hey, Dragon, what's going on, babe? And we are going to be talking about, of course, the country I seem to talk about more than the United States, China. So there's a lot to cover, and I'm going to try to break it up as much as possible with music. I got mostly metal, but I got some non-metal songs in there that fit in. Hey, what's up, Coda? How are you doing? So we're going to get into it. For those of you who are new to my show, this is Money and Metal. And I talk about money while playing metal music. It's really quite that simple. I'm a certified financial planner, and my investment firm is Hot Moon Financial, like it's hot outside and there's a moon out. And this is what I do on my show Wednesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific time. I've been up since butt-ass early at 4:15 a.m. this morning, and I have not had any caffeine yet. So we'll see how this goes. So let's talk about Putin real quick. So we are coming up on we are 2 days away from the 1-year anniversary where Putin invaded Ukraine, which was on February 24th of 2022. The war is still going on. There's been so much stuff we've covered on this as far as the oil, the commodities that come out of Russia, how it's affected the European Union, how India and China have been buying up a lot of the oil at a discount, which again is what you do when it's good for your country, and how the allies have gotten involved and NATO. We've talked about all of this stuff on my show in one form or another. So we are 2 days away from the anniversary. Now, Putin has said just recently that he will be suspending the observation of the New START Treaty. So the New START Treaty stands for New Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, and it was originated in 1991, and then it was extended in 2010, and then recently it was extended in 2021 under the Biden administration. So the New START Treaty basically is between Russia and the United States, and it says, hey, we're going to tell each other about our nuclear arsenals, and we're going to be open to inspections, and we're going to let you guys come in and see ours, and you show me yours, I'll show you mine, kind of thing. And that's been going on for some time. So Russia has said, no, we are going to suspend that treaty. Now, we're not going to be the first to start testing our nuclear wars, or our nuclear warheads, is what Putin has said. But he said, however, if the United States starts to test their nuclear do nuclear testing, then we will do the same thing in response. So they're backing out of the treaty, but then he's saying that, oh, we won't go first, but if you do, then we have the right to retaliate. And Putin had a very interesting State of the Nation that he came out with. And in there, he was obviously very discriminatory towards the West, specifically the United States. So it's like we're in the 80s all over again. It's like the day after. You guys remember that horrific like after school special where it was talking about the day after a nuclear bomb and all the things that happened, and they made us watch it in school. And then, of course, there was my favorite where during the threat of nuclear war, they told us that if there was a bomb, to get under our desk. Which I'm like, what the fuck are these desks made out of? Like, I mean, even in third and fourth grade, I was like, I don't think a desk is going to save me from the fucking roof falling in. I mean, at least I knew enough about bombs that I didn't think that this little bitch ass desk was going to protect me. And now it's like, we're here again, you guys. Like we're here again. So Generation X, you guys, we've been through this before. I'm kind of like blasé-faire about it, but it does make me nervous still. I will tell you for sure. Now Russia has said, hey, look, man, we're cool. We're still going to comply with the terms of the agreement, the terms of the treaty until it expires. And we're still going to continue to exchange information. But of course, there's been accusations that Russia has not let us in to see a lot of their nuclear facilities. And I'm sure the United States has done the same thing because really, when it comes down to it, nobody wants to show their hand. However, Putin has been further quoted as saying about the treaty that the U.S. and NATO and its allies, quote, want to inflict a strategic defeat on us and crawl into our nuclear facilities. And this is about the New START treaty. So he's saying that he's not going to do anything, but then he's talking a lot of shit. In the same State of the Nation address, he called the United States, said that we were full of godlessness and pedophilia. So do with that what you will, right? But this is from Putin's State of the Nation, right? And if the New START is suspended, the U.S. could lose access, of course, to the inspections at the nuclear sites in Russia, and then they wouldn't be able to know how many nuclear warheads Russia actually has. And currently, right now, under the treaty, data is exchanged between the United States and Russia about every 6 months. But my thing is how many nukes do you really need? You know what I mean? Like 4. And the reason why I'm going to say 4 is because remember we dropped 2 on Japan, right, during World War II. So, I mean, honestly, do either country need arsenals and arsenals and arsenals of warheads? No. So does it really matter? At some threshold, there's diminishing returns, right? It doesn't matter how many fucking nukes the other country has. It doesn't take that many to make any kind of damage. And I got Claire weighing in, I think, on the morning, the day after. Yes, Claire, it was fucking unpleasant. So, of course, what is the best song to play after all of this talk? And there's still more to come on this, but of course, some Ozzy. So the thing that's so crazy, let me turn down my headphones because I was rocking out. The thing that's so crazy is that song could be out right now today and we would be back in the same boat, which of course is just history repeating itself. So for those of you who are just joining me, my name is Mello. I'm a licensed certified financial planner. I'm talking about money while listening to metal, thus money and metal. But more importantly, the topics we're talking about today is Russia and the ongoing invasion of Ukraine. We're going to be talking about the SCOTUS here in a minute, and then we're going to, of course, be talking about China. But that guitar work off of Ultimate Sin, which is one of my favorite Ozzy albums, there's so many though, is Jakey Lee. I got the pleasure to meet him. He was such a cool fucking dude. He lived out here in Henderson, not Las Vegas, but like Henderson is right outside of Las Vegas. And he got into heavy drugs and then, parted ways with Ozzy and then lost all his teeth. And then he was somebody, I don't know if it was a patron or a group, whatever, they got all of his teeth replaced. And he still comes through here sometimes and plays at Vamped, which if you have not gotten the chance to see Jakey Lee play fucking up front, close and personal, then it is something you should probably check out next time you're in Vegas, because Vamped has a whole bunch of, it's like probably the size of like the whiskey, maybe a little bit smaller. And we've had Sebastian Bach there. We've had John 5 there. We had Accept there. We've had so many people come through there. So if you're ever in Vegas, I know you guys want to do the Strip, but if you guys are metalheads, check out Vamped, because seriously, it's our rock club. And that album came out February 10th of 1986. And as I was listening to the song, I was thinking of the Bay of Pigs that we had in the 60s, I believe it was, and how we almost had nuclear war. Then we had the Cold War. Then we had the Cold War extending through the 80s, where we thought for sure that we were all going to die from a nuclear bomb. And now that Putin has told us that he is going to be letting the New START treaty expire, it doesn't necessarily prevent anything. It never prevented anything. It's just not really a sign of goodwill. So now let's talk about what that means for the stock market. Because all of this always comes back to money. So yes, this is terrifying, and yes, this is shit that you guys need to know seriously, for real. Sledge Mason says Jeffrey played there too. And then, oh yeah, let me just get to the comments. So we got Tabor in, we got Munster in, we got Rock Metal Nation. I will be playing a song I heard on Rock Metal Nation song yesterday, which I was like, how the fuck did he know that I was doing this specific show, that he played this song right when I caught it? And so Coda says, it is interesting though, think of most kids born after 2001 haven't really had anything war-like in their radar. Sure, we all had COVID, that it was involved death, but it wasn't like war. That's completely true. So let's talk about how Putin's withdrawal from the START treaty, letting it expire and not plans to renew it, what that means. So obviously we know that Russia, I don't want to say Russia because it's not the Russian people, Putin. I'm going to say this is Putin's war. So we know that Putin has doubled down and said that he's going to continue to fight. And now he is going with the rhetoric that it is their lands that they need to claim back, which of course we know was really what the whole goal of the whole thing was. So what happened to the stock market? Well, so there's a whole bunch of moving parts. So as of yesterday's close, and the market will be opening here in 15 minutes, as of yesterday's close, the Dow was down 2.06%, and the S&P was down 2%, and the NASDAQ was down 2.5%, which we're going to talk about the importance of the NASDAQ in our next story, but I want you guys to know that. And on top of the heels of all of this kind of stuff, we have China kind of suggesting / hinting at / making vague references to kind of sort of maybe saying that they're going to provide Russia with legal force, then coming out and saying we're not going to provide Russia with legal force to help fight Ukraine. But we know that China and Russia, their belief systems are aligned. And so I don't think it's too far-fetched to think that China would not think of, entertain, potentially provide lethal force to Russia, which draws us, of course, Xers, all my Generation Xers draws us close to another nuclear war, right? So just think of World War II and how Japan got involved and how we're like history is repeating itself. And so this is a big problem for people who are owning Chinese companies. This is a big problem for people who don't like war. And in general, the stock market does not like war. The economy, we're going to talk about in a minute, that's a different story. But we're talking about stocks, okay? Stocks do not like the thought of war. And there's all kinds of different stocks you can hold. You can hold domestic stocks. Domestic stocks are stocks that are from the United States. They're United States owned and founded, and they are here companies. Those are domestic stocks. Then there's emerging market stocks. So that would be your BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China. Those are emerging market countries. Then you have international stocks. And the BRIC countries and the international stocks, they overlap. Then you have international stocks, which are stocks that are from companies that are owned in another country. Those are international stocks, but they are not traded on the exchange here in the United States. Then you have international owned companies that are ADRs. That means that they're traded on our New York Stock Exchange. And so that is going to take us into our very last story, because if you are a Chinese, we're just use China, for example, because we're talking about Russia and China. If you are a Chinese-owned company and you want to have access to American money on the New York Stock Exchange, then you have to come in as an ADR, which is an American deposit receipt, or an American citizen can buy a Chinese stock, but then they are subject to taxation in both countries, and it gets really fucking murky. So the point is that people do not like, stock markets do not like war. And when we're talking about economies, that's different. So war machines run economies, right? But this is not really the best time to be firing up our war machine, and let me tell you why. Because of the simple fact that war machines mean making guns, calling up soldiers, making more production, which means that money has to happen for all of this stuff. So then that's good to stimulate an economy. But where's that money going to come from? No party can successfully raise taxes on the ultra risk for whatever they're ultra rich for whatever fucking reason. They're impotent. They can't do it. I don't know what the fuck kryptonite this is, but it's ridiculous. So where the fuck does that money come from? Because at some point you can't keep taxing the 99% to oblivion. So that means you're going to have to pump money into the fucking economy, which is what they did, which caused us to have the inflation we have right now. So this is not good for an economy. It's not good for inflation. It's great for an economy, but it's not good for an economy that's trying to control inflation. You guys feel what I'm saying? So we're going to play. This is not a metal song, but literally I was just like, soon as I started covering this topic, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. We're all going to die. It's cool.
That's great. It's Donald Trip to Biden Mountain State in a light Leonard Bernstein.
It's the end of the world as we know it. So between that song and Thank God for the Bomb with the nukia, I'm just like, fuck it. We're all going to die, right? Literally, I honestly feel like this is the 80s coming back in a big way. So real quickly, Sledge Mason was asking about over-the-counter stocks. And so I can do a show on this, but I'm just going to very quickly tell you. So in order to be on a major stock exchange like the New York Stock Exchange, you have to meet certain criteria. And you have to have good audited financials. You have to have been around for a certain amount of time. There's a lot of things that you have to be able to qualify for in order to be on the New York Stock Exchange, because it's a privilege to be on the New York Stock Exchange. And when a company can't do that because either they haven't been around long enough, or they don't have the statements that they need, or they don't have the time in business, whatever the qualification is that they don't satisfy, then what they do a lot of times is they go to the over-the-counter stocks, which is the OTC. These are also sometimes called pink slips. These are also sometimes called penny stock. And so technically, a penny stock is anything that's under $5. However, when most people talk about a penny stock, and I talk about this in my book, Finance is the Other F Word, Another F Word to Love, they are talking about stocks that are traded less than $200, or excuse me, less than $2, less than $2 a share. And typically they are exchanged, and they're just brokers to broker. They're not open on a public exchange. And that, of course, makes them more volatile, right? Because anything that isn't vetted, that doesn't have, good, as we'll find out in my very last story, good information coming out, can make a stock more volatile. And of course, the price point makes it subject to pump and dump, which is where people come in, they buy a whole big swath of stocks that are really cheap in price, and then they push the value of those stocks up. And then what happens is other people, unbeknownst to them, jump in thinking that the stock is running, and then the original person who pumped up the stock then dumps all of it, and then they walk away with money. And now it's called meme stocks. And back in the 80s, it was called junk bonds. That's what they did with junk bonds. That's what they did with, penny stocks. And now that's what they're doing with meme stocks. Same fucking thing, you guys. Just a fucking new ass label on it, but the same motherfucking shit, pump and dump. So let's talk about SCOTUS. And this is you guys, this is an awesome conversation, because we just had a show on Pornhub on Friday. I think that was when I did my 2-hour show. Todd was taking care of his son's driver's lessons. And so I did a 2-hour show, and I went way deep into Pornhub and all of the ways that they manipulate people, they manipulate your money, they manipulate the content that's uploaded, and how just shit it is all over. And one of the things that I touched on in that show was the 1996 Communications Decency Act. And I mentioned in passing that Facebook and other social media platforms are getting around being held liable for shit that they are allowing to be on their site because of this act in specific. Well, guess what the fuck is coming up in front of the Supreme Court of the United States? And this could upend the protection that these internet companies and social media platforms have been experiencing for 2 decades, okay? Now, there is a case, Gonzalez versus Google. And the case, this is what makes it so exciting. Exciting and fucked up at the same time. The case is basically saying that Google's algorithm was responsible for the death of Nomi Gonzalez, a United States citizen that was over in France that died during a 2015 terror attack. So basically what they're saying is that Google's algorithm led people down a rabbit hole to terrorism content, and that content is what enabled the terrorist attack in 2015 in France to happen, killing this United States citizen. And his family is suing, his or her, I don't know from the name if it's a his or her, is suing Google, and it's going up in front of the Supreme Court. And the thing on the ballot is this 1996 Communications Decency Act. Now, we talked a lot about Pornhub hosting non-consensual content and people trying to get that content removed. And Pornhub is saying, oh, we removed it, but then it shows back up and fucking whatever. And then Facebook has content. We also touched on one of my other shows about TikTok having CP on their TikTok channel and basically saying kind of the same bullshit. And it's all kind of hovering around this act that was passed in 1996, where the social media companies are saying, but we didn't put it there, so it's really not our fault. Well, this case says, no, bitch, your algorithm. So we're going after your algorithm. Now, that's what makes this so different. And we have talked on this subject so many times on Finance is the Other F Word and this show, Money and Metal. But this is the first time that the act is going to come under direct review of the Supreme Court. And so depending on how this case goes, it can affect the algorithms of these social media platforms. And these are the algorithms that they keep you watching and hooked on watching, that they mine more and more data from you, that they then in turn turn around and they sell to advertising companies to make money off of you. And in the case of Pornhub that we just talked about, they take really intimate data of preferences that you have, and then they pull that off and then they send it to Traffic Junkie, which is their own advertising site. And then they use that to sell your information to further advertise to you. So if you don't know what they're selling you. That's how it is. Now, Google is arguing, of course, that the algorithms are completely important. And this does have some point to it. They're saying, hey, look, you can't get rid of the algorithms because that is literally the basis of how we all find stuff. Okay? But we know that algorithms can be changed and manipulated all the time. So let's go back to Pornhub for just 1 second. Why? Actually, we're going to touch that. We're going to touch it when we come back. So let me stay on this train of thought. So with Google, they're basically saying, hey, look, man, if you fuck with our algorithms, then nobody's going to be able to find anything. But there's no conversation about the fact that they've manipulated algorithms to send you to certain places, or that you can purchase for money placement in those algorithms. So the algorithms are not infallible. They can be moved around. They can be manipulated. So the preface that our algorithm, you can't fuck with it because it's going to screw everything up, is ridiculous. They mess with their algorithm all the time, and we are both the cattle and the beneficiaries to that. And then, of course, Yelp and Reddit has thrown their hat in the ring saying, hey, guys, you can't do anything to the algorithms because it could negatively affect us, and we're a little tiny company, we're little mid-sized companies. So the argument is going back and forth, but we're gonna come back here in a minute after I play this song, and we're gonna continue the discussion, because this could be a big thing coming through, and it could change and upend social media. Woo! I fucking love that song so much. Like, I wanted to get up and start like moshing by myself and like tipping over my desk and like punching things. And the fucking beginning, that guitar is just so gnarly, like fucking grindy. Woo! Good times, good times. Okay, so real quickly, I got a question, or kind of a thing from Coda. I don't know if I'm saying your name, Kodak Chrome. I'm just going to call you Coda because it's easier. So they were asking, as far as they have a small business and they're starting to see tightening, and do I think that that's going to continue? Yes, I absolutely do think it's going to continue, because Powell, the Fed chair, has told us so. He's told us so multiple times. There was a consensus that rate hikes would start slowing this year, which they're not going to be as high. However, we had jobs reports that came out in January that were fucking astronomically wonderful. And the thing is that there's so much resilience in the job market that's part of the other key to inflation. And so until that starts to get hurt, Powell has indicated that he will continue to increase rates. So what that means for you guys, if you're carrying a lot of credit card debt, you need to start trying to look at changing that, if you haven't already, over to some type of unsecured personal loan and lock that motherfucker in, because they are expecting 3 more rate hikes of 0.25% by the beginning of fourth quarter, which means that we would see interest rates increase by maybe 1% by year end, which is going to further tightening spending in the economy. So that's my answer to that for you. So yes, they will continue. So everybody keeps getting euphoric because they keep thinking he's not going to raise rates, even though the man has told us multiple times, we are going to raise rates and I'm going to keep raising rates, and people don't listen to him and they just think whatever they want to, then they get disappointed. So let's go back to this court case. This is a big deal. Now, there's also the argument on free speech here, because again, they're saying that this led them to terrorist content because of the algorithm, but technically they're not targeting the content, they're targeting the algorithm. So the thing is that, you know, when we were talking about Pornhub, we were talking about kind of the synonymous words and the things that people were searching for. And we were talking about how, you know, these girls would have non-consensual content uploaded to Pornhub that they would see and everybody else would see, including their family. And then what would happen is that they would have it contact Pornhub, and then Pornhub would be like, oh yeah, my bad, and take it down, maybe. But then there was the case of the one girl who tried for 6 months to get a video removed, and they wouldn't remove it until she acted like an attorney and they removed it. But then it just pops up again, right? So the thing is that they're targeting the algorithm. So the thing is that so the free speech thing, I get it, but I kind of don't get it at the same time. But the thing is that so let's talk about the algorithm. Let's again go back to Pornhub. If you can't control the content that's being uploaded, if you have so much content uploaded to your site that you can't possibly monitor it all, which is TikTok, 100%, I've talked about that multiple times, and Pornhub. There's so much content going on. There's something like 20 billion videos on I think TikTok a month or something going on there. You can't fucking monitor that. But you know what you can do is you can control your fucking algorithm. And you can put a stop to it. You can put a stop to it when it starts getting nasty. So for instance, with Pornhub, they couldn't maybe control all the content, but you know what they can do? They can control search terms like teen, barely legal, destroyed, forced. They can control all of those types of content, and they can make their algorithm not respond and not bring back any results. And anything that is posted and is hashtagged with those things, it can be a dead end to the algorithm, and then the person can't find that content. So don't tell me for one fucking minute that you can't control your fucking algorithm, because you sure the fuck can control it when it comes to taking and tracking us and our likes and our preferences and then making money off of us. So don't fucking tell me for 1 minute that you can't control your algorithm. Now, whether the algorithm was a direct reason why there was a attack in France that resulted in a U.S. citizen's death, I mean, I don't know if that's a stretch or not, because I don't know the details of the case, but don't give me this bullshit that you can't control your algorithm, because you're making money off of us, so you're controlling it just fine when it serves you. And of course, Google is further saying, and their attorneys are further arguing that, hey man, you can't have us control our algorithm, because if you do that, you're going to stymie this sector, and they're not going to be able to come up with new and innovative ideas, because they're going to be afraid that they're going to be liable for the content that they're putting in front of people. So therefore, they're not going to come into the space. Basically, what they're saying is you're creating a higher level of entry into the sector, and you can't do that because you're going to stymie innovation. But that's what we hear constantly. We hear that constantly, right? So, I mean, any new technology that they put in front of you, you can always say that and have a fallback. And then, so I'm going to play, so Coda, thank you for the wisdom. Like Kodak film. Okay, Kodachrome, got it. But I switched, so I'm not insurance remarks. Okay, all right, Coda, you're Coda to me forever now. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's continue with our war playlist, and come on, this is coming up. Oh, I fucking love that song. I got to see the second to the last show that Slayer did on their final tour, and it was amazing. Kerry King lived here in Vegas. Oh, let me turn on my headphones. I'm screaming at myself. Kerry King lived here in Vegas for a hot minute, but now I heard he has since moved away, which is sad, because he was there were sightings of Kerry King all over the place, and he would always go to the Pinball Hall of Fame, which is literally just a big building full of pinball machines because he loved pinball. And we just kept trying to hope that we'd see him there, and we just never did. So let's continue on with this court case, because I want you guys to really start following down the rabbit hole of what this court case could mean. So far, none of the judges have stated what their position is on this. However, what they have stated, we do have something from Judge Thomas, who has said in regards to a case last March against Facebook, because remember what I told you, they've been using this Decency Act all this time to protect themselves. And Judge Thomas is quoted as saying, quote, "It is hard to see why the protection of 23C1 grants publishers against being held strictly liable for third parties' content should protect Facebook from liability from its own acts and admissions." So Thomas is not liking the act already. And let's say that this gets ratified in some instance, in some way, this act gets changed, or it doesn't give these protections to these companies. Think of all of the lawsuits that are going to be opened and flooded and heading the way of these social medias. Think of Pornhub. Think of all of the girls who have committed suicide, and boys too, who have, because they've had content, non-consensual content or underage content put on Pornhub that they couldn't remove, and they've been harassed, and they've had to move schools, and they've had to do everything, and they've committed suicide. You don't think those families are gunning? Fuck yeah, they're going to be gunning. If I'm a nonprofit and I think, and I'm trying to protect these types of people, can I argue that your algorithm is leading people to destructive content and or blocking my content? I absolutely can. And so then here comes the floodgate of all these people who have grievances with social media, and there is tons that have had adverse consequences. There is an article in the New York Times about young girls experiencing, just the problems and anxiety that social media causes, and boys too. I mean, boys are not, they're not, they're humans, right? We're all humans. We don't like criticism all the time, and people are dicks most of the time, So let's take this a step further, okay? And then I'm going to play a song, then I'm going to come back with my last story, and then we're going to be wrapping this up. So let's say that, the justices are going to be working on this case, and I'm going to be watching the fuck out of this, because that is going to have a direct effect on that sector stocks, okay? Now, let's take this a step further, though. The Supreme Court and the justices on the Supreme Court have said that they are really wanting to review the Texas and Florida social media laws that seeks to ban tech companies from removing content or banning users on political beliefs or ideals. And SCOTUS is really, really amping to dig into these things, and this could be a gateway into allowing them to do that. And so we have, of course, the big lobbying groups are getting in, Net Choice, and they're saying, hey, it's their First Amendment right to have, free speech and to host free speech. And so then what we have is billion-dollar tech companies that a lot of people feel that are responsible for their loved ones' deaths, right? And we have both Democrats and Republicans, Biden and Trump, has both said that they want to modify this act in some way. So that's one thing they agreed on. But Democrats and Republicans argue on different sides of the aisles, but they're both arguing for changes to this. They're saying that one side is saying that they needs to remove hate speech and that there's dangerous information. The other one is saying that it needs to make the companies be accountable. The other one is saying that you can't have it censor any type of free speech, or you can't let it have a liberal conservative bias. So both parties are in on this, but they both kind of, look at it in different ways. But let's wrap up with this. So the DOJ, Department of Justice, so the two senators who wrote this bill, the Republican Chris Cox and Ron Wyden, who's a Democrat, they co-authored this act, and they have both weighed in and said, oh, no, judges, you guys should look at this as broad. Like, take this as a broad scope. Like, don't take it too seriously. Take it as a really broad, loose definition. The DOJ is saying, oh, no. You need to give it a fair reading, and you need to look into this. So the thing is that everybody's in it. But let me touch just real quickly before I play my next song into deep fakes. Because I talked about this on the Pornhub episode, where they have this technology now where they can have somebody say something that they never fucking said, and it looks exactly like they said it. And we talked about how Obama and Nicolas Cage were both victims to this exact thing. So what happens as deepfakes rise, which we'll be covering Friday on my show, as deepfakes rise, then who's to say what was real in the first place to even say that there was a bias generated in the first place? Is it a bias if it shows content that was never legitimate in the first place? And then is the onus more on the tech companies to make sure that that content is in fact good and legit and real content? You guys follow what I'm saying? So this is like going down the fucking rabbit hole for real. And since we did just, yeah, so I just looked down, Rare Todd, we're fucked. Absolutely. You know what I mean? And he said he's heard about the New York Times article. So there's just so much shit, you guys, that could just open a can of severe fuck up for the market in a whole. So we're going to play a song. I'm going to come back with my last story. Then I'm going to exit with a song, and then everybody jump over to see Todd. And my very last song is a song I heard on Rock Metal Nation's show yesterday, but this one isn't. This is good old Priest. Ripping out hearts. It's fucking great. Oh God, let me turn down my headphones. At the end of every song, I'm screaming in my own ear like a jackass. Jesus Christ. Okay, all right. So we'll be watching that court case, but there's a lot of shit that can be opened. And Coda had said, "Man, we came a long way from dancing hamsters." Yes, we fucking did. And flying toast and that pipe thing. That would. Remember it was just like continuous pipes and you just watch it and trip out on it. So let's end with our last story on China. So we talked about over-the-counter stocks. We talked about being on the New York Stock Exchange. We talked about the fact that there are certain different things that you have to have in order to be able to be traded on the New York Stock Exchange. So China has ADRs. So those are American deposit receipts. So you have state-owned enterprises that are over in China, and there was agreement between the United States and between China. And they were basically, United States says, hey, you need to use one of the big four auditing firms, United States firms, for us to look at your books to be traded on the New York Stock Exchange. China said, yeah, okay, cool, that's fine. But now China, their Ministry of Finance, is saying, hey guys, when this expires, don't do those contracts again with the U.S. firms. Just go with our local auditing people. And so I understand what they're saying. So basically, it is advantageous for the United States to force Chinese companies that are traded on the New York Stock Exchange to use United States auditing firms. But I will tell you that if you're getting access to our money, then we want to make sure what the fuck you have. We want to see your books. If you are a domestic company, you need to open your books to auditors. You need to have audited financial statements. So I don't think it's far-fetched that we tell Chinese companies that are trading on as ADRs on our New York Stock Exchange that we need to verify their books. But China, Ministry of Finance now is saying, I think you guys should start using local Chinese auditors. And of course, they're saying, hey, we want to help our own country and we want to help our own auditing sector. I get all that, but in this is where everything comes full circle, you guys. When we talked at the top of the hour about China kind of meaning somewhat hinting around offering lethal force to Russia to help in the fight against Ukraine, and that taking us one step towards war, this is another thing where now they're saying, hey, you know what, we're trading on your stock exchange and we want to have access to your money, but we're no longer going to let you look at our books because we want to just keep it private. We want to just, keep it within China. Well, the problem is that China, among other things, has been accused of taking intellectual property from the United States and refurbishing it as their own and then selling it for cheaper on the open market. And they have been accused of taking technologies and a whole bunch of other stuff. But now China's saying, hey, we're going to still get our books audited, but we're not going to do it through the U.S. auditors anymore. We're going to keep it local, which is exactly what the United States is trying to stop, because of the simple fact that they are traded on our New York Stock Exchange. So you can feel however you want to feel about that, but financially, I will tell you that if I'm looking at buying a company for a client, I want to see the financials, and I want to know that the financials that I'm looking at are in fact good. And you can't prevent that all the time. That's why we have class action lawsuits. However, This is something that is starting to really be another burr under the saddle. And on top of that, we have all of this coming in lieu. We know that Russia, China, and India has been buying large amounts of oil from Russia at deep discounts, which have been supporting their war effort. So when we come back on Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific time, we will be discussing a deeper dive into artificial intelligence, I think. We'll see, unless something else shiny sparks my interest. And I heard this song on Rock Metal Nation yesterday, and I was like, I love Steel Panthers. So for you guys who have never seen Steel Panthers, I've seen them twice. Lexi was with them. They are a great band. I wish... There's a lot of dick jokes and stuff like that, which is fine and everything, but I really wish that they would play more, because they're actually fantastic musicians with great voices. And, you know, there's a lot of like dick jokes and stuff, but the funniest thing I ever heard the lead singer say was, he was like, yeah, so I'm looking at the girl who's singing the lyrics to all of our songs, which happened to be my best friend's sister at the time from Israel. And she started jumping up and down. He's like, and I'm looking right past her to the girl behind her with the big titties. And that was fucking hilarious to me. But the thing that I loved about the song, it was the first time I had heard it yesterday, was the end of the world is coming, so you should be too. And I'm like, you know what? That sounds like fucking sound advice. So when I come back, you might see him again. Oh, nice. So when I come back, I'm going to sign off. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Again, Mel O, certified financial planner. My investment company's Hot Moon Financial. My podcast is Finance is the Other F Word. My book is Finance is the Other F Word, Another F Word to Love. I talk about money and metal on my show Wednesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. And here's Still Panthers, because the end of the world is coming, so you should be coming too. Like, why aren't we doing this right now? And with that, Amp, I hope you go get you some. Everybody jump over to Rare Todd Show, where he's going to continue the torch of war songs. And I will see you guys back Friday morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific time, for Money and Metal with me, Mel O. And until then, and as always, Amp, I am out this bitch.
Thanks for listening. If you like us, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.